12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a
Yahoo!
Hey y'all, this is Ryan Monso. That's Martin, and this is talking about them Cougars. We're waiting on Brad. Who knows if he'll be here? Who's not here are the Houston Cougars. 34-0 today, and U of H was never really in the game. You got a great stop on Cincinnati's first drive, and then it all went downhill from there. Donovan throws an early interception, 2 fumbles from Sanford, penalties that result in first downs, I think 5 times, which is mind-blowing that that's still happening 4 games in, with a head coach that says the Cougs don't beat the Cougs. At some point, you've got to start laying it at the feet of the players, laying it at the feet of the coaches. That's unacceptable. Martin, what are your first thoughts?
I mean, it's just, I was there last year for Kansas State. This feels a lot like that. I mean, even just this year, this feels a lot like the UNLV game where it's like you come out of this game with what positives. I'm not sure, like what is the coach you tell your players other than we don't do this going forward. I mean, from what I wrote about the offense earlier in the week, I don't see anything different. There were early on, there was a big 52-yard pass to Manjack, and then he had Donovan Smith had 1 yard on his 6 other attempts. Rashawn Sanford had some explosive plays and unfortunately had some issues with ball security, maybe trying to do too much, not to make an excuse for the kid, but
yeah,
it's like one step forward, 4 steps back. It sucked. I mean, there's not really any other way to put it.
I think you ran the ball better, more consistently than you have this season. But if you turn it over twice on the ground, what does that really matter? That's a freshman. It's gonna happen. It doesn't excuse it, but it's going to happen. And so, what can you say about that? He ran the ball pretty well today. When Zion Chris was given an opportunity, he ran the ball well. I don't know what you're going to do going ahead this week. I think the money would be on, they're going to start Donovan again, but maybe he was just bad enough that you say, let's give this other guy a shot. Let's see if he can spark this offense and make something happen. Real quick, who is your player of the game?
I mean, it was good
Jack
to see
Martin
the flashes
is
from
the correct answer. Jack Martin. He kicked the ball 1 time, first play of the game, never stepped foot on the field again. Jack Martin is your player of the game.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Star Pizza. Go get you some Star Pizza. They have beer. You should enjoy it. It's a beautiful day. Go enjoy Star Pizza and have a beer. Tell them we sent you because who were you going to say?
I mean, Ray, like I said, we talked about it. He showed flashes. He averaged 10 yards a carry on his 6 carries. Like we said, you can't really make an excuse for the fumbles. It's the most important thing is keeping the ball secured. But he was trying to do a lot every time he touched the ball.
Yeah.
It did feel like the offense was allowing him to get further downfield before he was touched. Those were late carries where the game was kind of out of hand, but it is what it is. He made the plays when they were there to make. I'm not excited from what I'm seeing from the offense as far as like schematically.
No.
In the first half, the only ball that went more than 5 yards in the air before it was caught was the Manjack play. I think Malik Carr had one that was like right about 5 yards, but the metric shouldn't be 5 yards downfield for explosive plays. That's not what the conversation we should be having. And this was against a defense that was it's a 3-down front. They were essentially dropping 7 or 8 most of the game. And I get that makes it tougher to find those holes, but you've got to be able to. I mean, that's why you're paid, money that's your job, is finding opportunities for your players. And, we're a third of the way through the season. We kind of are who we are at this point. And so something needs to happen. You had Boogie Johnson and those guys running horizontally most of the game.
Yeah.
And Donovan I do think he's playing faster in his head because of the issues with pass protection to this point.
Yeah.
The Texas route in the red zone to Snead, I think he was a second too fast on the throw and didn't allow Stacy to get out of his break. Versus if he was more comfortable, he probably hits him in stride and maybe he cuts it up, at least gets a first down. But I think there's small examples like that where you see Donovan's playing faster in his head than the game is actually showing him. And it's just, it's tough to watch. I think we know that there's dynamic players on the outside in the backfield, but it doesn't really matter if they're not put in a position to succeed.
I'm trying to think of throws past 5 yards, and I can only come up with 3: the Malik Carr, the Manjack, and then Stephon Johnson in the corner there. That I hate that route. I just don't think there's a reason to make a kid run across the field like that. And I think there's better throws. You had 13 completions, and most of them were at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, but you also had a lot of incompletions at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And that's bad. 2 years ago and 3 years ago, Clayton Tune threw a lot of balls at or behind the line of scrimmage, but he was 100% on those. And they're nowhere close to that now. So it's not good. And I think 6 of your 13 completions were to running backs and tight ends. The one that went to Malik Carr there. Is this Brad Towns? Are you there?
I think so.
You look all red and flush and ready to go. It's like you had a happy night last night. And
I wish.
it's just piled on today. So we have talked about how good the Cougars look today. Really excited with the progress. What do you have to say, Brad Towns?
Everything I wrote this week was wrong.
Accurate.
See, I'm right about something. It was a major step back, and it's hard to say where the problem lies. I think I'm more disappointed in the fumbles and penalties.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to penalties yet.
Yeah. And
you okay? You sound terrible.
I've got this sinus infection that
all right
been killing me. But we have a major problem at quarterback.
Yeah. We wrote early and in the preseason that if Caleb McMichael had stayed healthy, he was going to get a shot this year. He was going to get opportunities to show you what he could do. He tears an ACL in practice. I believe it was the contact thing. And so you were kind of left with 2 guys. And Uyale showed you some things in that last drive against UNLV, but he has not been getting reps in practice. So the thought that he's coming in to save the day is just not it's just not happening.
Right.
So Zion Chris, could he be the solution? Brad, would you start him next game against Iowa State?
I might go with the 2 quarterback solution. I don't know.
Okay, that's good content.
Well, you got to think throwing him in there. He at least he got a few passes today, but those were the only passes he had this year. Didn't look great, didn't look bad, but I don't know what you're going to get out of Donovan. It's unfortunate. I mean, I really liked the guy. I see why people thought he was going to be a draft pick, but I haven't seen it on the field. I
Yeah,
think they,
besides on the field, he's looked
yeah,
like a draft pick. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. He still looks scared to throw an interception, except when he throws an interception, and then pretty much everything he threw after that was to the flats. He would
Yeah.
check down quickly.
Take down a lot and very fast. And
Yeah,
I mean, what he has seen the first 3 weeks is a reason for that. Today, he really didn't need to do it as much. I thought he got a little better protection.
yeah.
I mean, he still got bum rushed quite a few times, but overall, I think it was a lot better.
And
Something that should be said for this game lasted less than 3 hours, 2 hours,
Wow.
59 minutes. And that was with FS1 taking that bizarre after the kickoff timeout late in the game, which pisses me off. I see why y'all all hate the announcers on TV. This being my first game at home in quite a while, uh, that was bad.
Yeah.
Uh, the FS1 crew that would have normally done this game now is doing the Friday night games, and so you got stuck with Petrova, whatever that guy's name is, who should only do Pac-12 games, even if there's not a Pac-12.
Yeah. He called Hershey McLaurin the lone holdover on the defense from Dana Holgerson's tenure because he was a
He
West
did.
transfer.
Yeah. He also called Liam Doherty, Joseph Kim.
He did.
He got the Bearcats and the Cougars mixed up about 8 times. But thankfully, I don't have to deal with this again live. When I go back and rewatch games, I do it with the mute on, and going to be pretty happy with that. So you gave up 5 first downs via penalty today. 5.
Yeah.
And you did it pretty much in all the different ways you can do it. You did it on a face mask. You did it on a personal foul, batting with his hands up in the quarterback's face. You had holding on Kristen Davis. You had the hold. I don't even remember who that other one was. The
It was
kick
on
catch
Tegan Wilk.
interference. Tegan Wilkes. I didn't necessarily see it there. I saw it with Kristen Davis. You had the 5-yard offsides, the kick catch interference. The defense was taking terrible angles all day. The linebackers, Michael Batten and Jamal Morris, repeatedly just awful.
Yeah, the early on, Corey Kiner really set up the cutback with, the linebackers would drive hard at the line.
That touchdown.
It's sealed. Yeah. Even before that, his first big, 15, 20-yard run, it was, a little too aggressive on the backside and leaving him with a huge cutback lane.
Yep.
Our boy Duarte is throwing out quotes from Willie's presser right now. Disappointed. We made some progress in the first 3 weeks, but sure as heck didn't make any progress today. Nothing to be happy about. Didn't play smart. Takes the blame with his coaching staff for not having them prepared. I think that's pretty fair. This was Kansas State bad last year, except that day it was freezing cold. This one not as bad.
You got to stay at home.
Yeah, I'm wearing the pajama pants, and the punt shirt. Punt. Brad, we talked about this a minute ago. Who was your player of the game? This will be a good 6 or 7 minutes.
I don't know. Sanford, even with the disaster
with the 2 fumbles.
Yeah, that's kind of the way the day went.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments, and they are not exactly pro Donovan?
No,
This
not at
is
all.
important. This defense did take a big step back today. They were not good. Cincinnati just looked unbothered, unaffected.
Mhm.
That they really did exactly what they wanted to. They punted. I know they punted twice, but man, it's hard to remember them. Um, I mean, Liam Doherty could be your player of the game. He kicked 4 or 5 times for about 46-yard average. And Jack Martin, first play of the game, kicks it, doesn't play again. Not good when your kickoff specialist and your punter or perhaps your players of the game.
True.
Um, you just could not get the ball downfield, and Uvich did run the ball a lot better, and that is a good sign. But
Yeah.
it's once again a team that says, let Donovan Smith beat us, and for a fourth time, you really don't think that Donovan beat a team. He played pretty well against OU, but he did have a turnover there, maybe 2, but at least 1. But today, just not very good. So Cincinnati now has 2 wins in the Big 12, both of them against U of H. This is their first one at home, and the stadium was empty. The people left at halftime. It was so weird to see because it was pretty packed.
Yeah.
The
Pretty warm too.
Well, it's still Ohio warm, not real warm.
Well, for them, it's unusual.
And the broadcast said it was the first P4 shutout this year. I don't know if that's a great thing to happen. Let's see. Willie Fritz says the team was not good. Takes the blame. I'm trying to see if there's any newer comments. We weren't real good at all 3 phases. That's back to me, the coaches and the players. And that's, I mean, you just look for something. The receivers really never got a chance. Running backs, okay. And mostly that's Sanford and then Chris giving you a little bit. I guess you
Right.
can call Chris a running back. He didn't throw it that many times.
Right.
Offensive line, okay. Tight ends, I don't think had a very good day at all.
No.
They got destroyed repeatedly trying to block. Defensive line was pretty absent. Linebackers got crushed. DBs were picked apart. I mean, Cincinnati did not throw the ball very often. And that kid, he was almost perfect.
12 for 15.
That's almost perfect. He had a 230 QB rating. That's
It's a pretty
not
good day.
great. Yeah. Didn't really have to do a ton. Brad, what are your takeaways right now?
We got a lot. We got a lot to prove. That's obvious. I don't know. This is kind of dejecting. I don't know where that game came from. Even if you don't have the best talent in the country, you gotta compete. You gotta be able to get this done. And the penalties are just frustrating because the time the time it was done. Usually I think there was a couple on third downs that we
Yep.
really needed and let drives continue that they go down and score. But it's the dumb penalties are what I mean. If those are the ones that are tough to deal with.
The penalty on the kick catch interference, the rules guy said that that's the rule. I don't know this 100%. I understand you have to give the guy the opportunity to catch it, and he did signal a fair catch. But once he bobbled it almost feels like it's free.
Mhm.
That's what the announcers were saying, that they were under the impression that because he didn't clean catch it, it was,
Right.
it was a fair play.
But I'm going to look that one up for sure, just to know for myself. What if you're the coach? What is your message before they get on the bus or when they get home, Brad? What are you telling this team?
That was a terrible game. It's unacceptable. We got some things to work on this week, and everybody get right because we got another big game coming in. But I would not be happy at all.
Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that you can take anything away from that game. If you're a coach and you come out of that game with, well, this was a positive, then what were you doing in practice to make you think that this should be the end result? It's super negative, but I mean, they didn't score any points and they gave up 30. They got their asses kicked today. I mean,
yeah. And,
at this level, you kind of lean on the coaches a little bit more because Rashawn Sanford is a 19-year-old kid. These are still kids playing a game, and they need to be prepared to succeed. So, for everything that Willie Fritz and his staff is supposed to bring, and I believe that they will, and there are differences. It's just it's an unfortunate result. It's really disappointing, especially after last week. Granted, Rice kind of got worked today by Army, so maybe Rice isn't a good football team either. But you got to take the wins where you can get them and try to at least look respectable when you go down.
Yeah.
The last time I looked, it was U of H down 31-0, Rice down 30-0. But I think Rice might have scored, so they get the better of that one. They were at Army. Oof. So you get Iowa State at home, and then you go to TCU, and then you get an off week. And I believe you have Kansas and Kansas State. It doesn't get any easier.
No.
And, I don't know what you change. I don't know what if you're looking for a spark, maybe you change quarterback, but I don't know how that drastically changes the output that you see.
No, I don't think that going to Zion is going to return, like you said, return the results that you're expecting. Today was a microcosm of what has been going on. They had 6 big plays that resulted in 130 yards. The other 4 went for 103, so they averaged just over 2 yards on the other plays.
Yeah.
And you play a good team, you can't rely on a few big plays to move the ball. Manjack had the 52-yard catch, and then we get nothing out of it. So, if you can't sustain drives and get several first downs to not only get the clock going and then put points on the board, but get confidence. These guys, I can't imagine these guys come out of this game with feeling good about it. You're not going to have any confidence after that result.
Yep.
I don't. We are not ones to blame play calling. The play calling is bad, and you have to understand the quarterback is going to his second, third reads a lot of times. Maybe he's doing it too fast, but you've got to give him throws that make sense that he can make. If his mind's running too fast, okay, you've got to make it run slower with the play calls and the options that you're giving him. If everything's just down the field developing after 10 yards, well, you got to know that ain't working today. And they did try the things on the line of scrimmage, and you couldn't complete those. And when you did, there were 2 guys sitting out there waiting. It looked like Cincinnati had the playbook the U of H playbook more memorized than the U of H players had it. Yeah. I'm thinking of one throw to Manjack out on the sideline, and I think it was a bad throw. And when he turns around, there's a safety in a corner just standing there waiting for him.
Yeah,
and he was lucky to get back. Yeah, he was lucky to get back to just a 1-yard loss on that. And that was his only touch other than the 53-yard play.
Yeah.
And if he has shown to be your most consistent player, why are you not trying things to get him the ball more? Why are you not building plays and building entire series around the guy? because everything else you're trying isn't working.
I think that we're at a point where we're paring the offense down more and more to try to fit what we have, trying to get the ball out quick, trying to limit, 1 to 2 reads, maybe have a third and immediate check down. If you dumb it down and it's still not working, then we got a problem.
Yes. Sorry, I was eating a Nilla wafer. I really needed a Nilla wafer at that point. Coogs definitely shown we don't belong in the Big 12. Don't understand the hiring of Willie. We need big recruits. If your issue is big recruits, the guy is doing as good a job on that as any U of H coach has done since I've been around.
Yeah.
I mean, you can trash what you saw on the field, and you should, because it was terrible. But the recruiting, it looks like it's going pretty well.
Yeah, I'm not going to start complaining about recruiting. I'll say this again. I may have said it last week. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe I was just thinking it. But guys, if you want recruiting to be better, and you care a lot about your alma mater or your local Houston football team, go in your pockets, because that's the game now. Willie, I think, is doing a good job. I was there last year. I know what it looked like before. I think he's doing everything he can. He's getting the local talent that he can. I mean, they have some pretty big recruits committed. These guys got to get coached when they get there. They got, I just recruit. I know. I think we need to have him actually go through a season and bring in a class before we start having a conversation about what he is or isn't doing in that respect. To be fair to him.
Yeah, you've got to give the guy an opportunity to. If he shows you he can't do it, that's fine. Go to town.
But we're not. Yeah, we're not there.
But we're not there yet. No, and it's no different than it's always been. It's always been about the money, but you're sending that money to somewhere different now. And a lot of people have a problem that instead of going to a building, it's going to a person. But that's where it is. And if U of H is ever going to compete on the level that they want to compete on, they've got to be able to get those dollars in. That's the wrong thing. I am trying to get, we'll put it right here. Duarte had a quote from Willie. He's non-committal. We need to go back to the drawing board on quarterback and see the competition we're going to have and play the right guys and have those guys do the things they are capable of and not have them do what they're not capable of. Okay. I don't know this to be fact, but I am reading into things from Willie that he's not very happy with the offensive coordinator, the way that's been going lately. UNLV was a complete disaster. It's like they didn't have any clue what their players could do. You come back to OU and they start throwing the ball better or smarter, but then the running game is still a disaster. Rice, you have to throw that whole result out because those are not legitimate FBS players at this point. And then today, what are you doing? And so we'll see. But I like Kevin Barbay as a guy. I really do. And he has been great with us and he's thoughtful. But it's not working right now. And either he finds a way to kind of switch this up to get this program back to where it needs, just to where you can start to hint at competing. That said, it's not his fault that you have 3 turnovers deep in Cincinnati territory, or you miss a field goal. You had opportunities. The ball was moving. The yardage is not great. The when you go and look at the game book, it's not going to be great, but there were opportunities. Yeah. And when the defense is committing penalties that are causing first down, special teams causing more first downs, you just, you're putting so much pressure on the offense to do exactly the thing, and they're just not to that point where you can depend on them like that.
No. Yeah, I mean, and this was the first game I would say where you can't really glean anything from the defense either. Like, UNLV game looked rough at the end, but the defense actually showed promise. Of course, OU, they did great against Rice, but today, it looked like it looked the past couple of years where things were just disjointed and constantly shooting themselves in the foot. Sorsby was, back there making nachos before he was throwing passes. I mean, the guy just looked super calm.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. So one of the units, is going to have a bad day, but it just can't be when the other two are having a bad day. Also, it's just
Right.
Today was just a perfect storm, unfortunately, for bad.
The defense played well in the second half against UNLV, and then they played 8 straight quarters against Oklahoma and Rice that were great. And they finally they made a stop on that first series, and then they got put in a bad situation, and it just never worked.
Mm-hmm.
LSU's wearing those god awful purple jerseys that I freaking hate. They always do it in the last non-conference game, but man, I hate those things.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what they do. I'm glad I spent my dough on basketball. I got a text message Thursday night. I was with the specialist at Star Pizza, and we're going to have a conversation, me and those guys, about, what are y'all doing? But I got this. I'm ready for the shows. I'm ready for cats after basketball. Galen Robinson is hungry. And so we're excited. We're 6 weeks away from starting the basketball season. They'll start practice after this coming week, I believe. And, we'll be doing double duty on basketball and football for the next few months. Brad, do you have any Star Pizza this week?
I don't.
You don't. You didn't.
No, I didn't have it. I didn't have any. I just been under the weather.
Embarrassing. Yeah. Okay. Well, I went Thursday night with the specialist. Had the garlic bread, the mozzarella. What do you call it? Mozzarella bread. Mozzarella,
yeah.
not sticks. I don't know what you call it. Those were excellent with the pizza sauce, the marinara, and had the Maryland, and then tried the dessert. Tried the chocolate cheesecake. Pretty good. So Star Pizza lunch specials Monday through Friday. Really good lunch specials. A personal sized pizza, a salad, and a drink. I think the drink and the pizza $8. Tuesdays and Fridays is the buffet, all you can eat, and a drink for $13.95. You can get that awful pizza that Towns loves on the buffet. You can get the Maryland. You can get whatever you want. They'll do it. Whatever. Star Pizza.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's look at some comments to see if everybody is super happy. I think the defense is tired because they're always on the damn field. Okay. You guys will have much more fun at the basketball head start last night. Towns asked them to make a skyline pizza. That sounds terrible.
I wouldn't do that. I would never do that to them.
That would be unadvisable if we're being honest.
That's a sin.
Defense. Let's see who. AJ Halsey had 11 tackles. Batten had 10. McLaurin had 2 tackles for loss. AJ Holmes had 1.5. It's not. Numbers are great.
I mean, the same guys, would flash. AJ, Batten, Carlos Allen would play here or there, but it was just not. I mean, it wasn't enough. There was too often, especially like those RPOs over the middle of the field early on. They were gashing them in the air. And then, I mean, I'm not ready to say the guy's quit or anything like that. I'm not going that
Right.
far. Too early.
I don't think so.
They've been playing so well, but it just felt overwhelming for them at a certain point. I think it might have been the Kiner touchdown, the long one. I think those guys were just like, man, we're doing everything we can, and it's just like we don't have any answers. And they'll have the opportunity to get back to the drawing board this week. Shieldwood's done a good job to this point. I think he'll figure it out. The guys are playing faster and harder this year than in the last couple of years. So I got to give him the credit there. Just wasn't their day to day, on any at all.
Juwan Gaston had 5 tackles. He only played the second half because he missed the first half because of the targeting penalty
Right.
a week ago. So he came in and did a pretty good job in just a half. But I'm struggling to find things to talk about because what the hell do you talk about at 34-0?
Yeah.
We have gotten in this rut with basketball shows where you blow somebody out by 30. Well, what the hell is there to talk about?
Right.
Well, it turns out it's even worse when you lose by 30 in football. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I get the discouragement, if that's the proper way to phrase that, from fans with Donnie that's so far this season. But guys, I just don't know what you're going to expect if he's not the one playing. Zion Chris is dynamic. He looks like a good runner with the ball, but you're going to see a lot of quarterback leads, I imagine. They were doing that early where they were doing the design runs with Donnie to the outside. And Chris is a better runner than Donnie. I mean, he runs better behind his pads. I think he's twitchier. He probably has better top end speed. Donovan's a good athlete, and he's pretty fluid, especially for a bigger guy. But he can run. He isn't a runner, I guess is a way I would phrase it.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're kind of putting your arm behind your back with what we've seen from Zion Chris, and more because we haven't seen him throw the ball, not because he can't. We just don't know what we're going to get.
Right.
You have a year's worth of pretty good football from Donnie last year. But I just think he's better throwing the ball downfield. And that pass to Manjack was beautiful. And when he has the time to set and get the ball downfield and attack the middle of the field and depth, he's good at that. The offense just isn't asking him to do that right now.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of you just can't do that. And
Fair.
I think Zion is a tougher runner. I think he's a better runner, but I also think Iowa State is going to prep for that, and they're going to be ready for Zion Chris at the quarterback spot, running the ball. They will gladly let Zion Chris beat them in the air. They will gladly let Donovan do that.
Yeah.
And if I were in Iowa State's position, I'd be pretty happy. Yeah, put Zion Chris out there. Yeah, we can figure that out. So it is in a tough spot. You're in a. I mean, we've said it. I've said it from day one. It was a kind of a 3-win team. Y'all all both bought the hype a little last week. Said the 6 wins.
Still sticking to it. I'm not going to back down until it's impossible.
You really aren't feeling well, are you? It's okay,
No.
Brad. Things aren't going so well for you. It'll work out.
When what you're seeing has always been the knock on him even at Texas Tech is that when he's on, he's electric. But when he's off, he's really, really bad.
The ball is going to the other team.
Right.
And I mean, he could have easily had 2 turnovers with that ball on the ground. He threw a bad pick. It didn't make any sense. And you had, 2 in the running game. But yeah, Donovan's, I mean, it is who he is. There's going to be turnovers, and you have to accept that. And where you're at with the offense and with him not feeling the game, rushing, as Martin said,
Mhm.
you just cannot have those turnovers. You cannot have penalties resulting in first downs on defense and special teams. You just can't.
Yeah.
And you ran into the kicker too, which did not result in a first down, wouldn't have. But that's another special teams meltdown. And I will say, as bad as everyone feels about the offense and about Donnie, I think the special teams have been more disappointing this year than any other unit on the field. Willie is such a special teams hound, and he has used that to great benefit his entire career. And he's put so much emphasis on it in practice with us in the media, and they just have not been good. And, it would be one thing if it were one certain part of special teams, but it's all over the field.
Yeah.
Mackay catching punts. Today, Massey looked terrible returning kicks. He was running into his own guys way too often. He was not seeing the field and making just bad decisions. And if that's what you're going to get out of him, I think they're going to make a change there. I think you would see Mackay Muse returning kicks, and I don't see a reason why you wouldn't try it. Kicker has been a nightmare, with Jack in the first game, and then Joseph Kim in the last couple has just not been good. There's been a hold issue. There's been a snap issue. They've worked with different holders and different snappers in the last week. They did not,
Right.
as far as I know, I think Jacob Garza snapped. Liam did hold. So they didn't make a change there. But, I mean, this not good. Okay, y'all are really killing me.
It's such a staunch difference from last year having Matt Golden. He might have been the best kick returner in the country before he got hurt. And then Massey just doesn't scream big play when he has the ball in his hands. He hasn't all year. We've seen Muse, return a punt for a touchdown. I don't know why you wouldn't. I mean, you're not really using Parker Jenkins on offense. Why not put him back here to return a kick?
Yeah.
They have other dynamic players. I get that there's a skill that comes with returning kicks, but if the guy you have doing it isn't producing for you, you got to try something different.
I mean, at worst, you hold on to the ball, not let it hit you in the face.
Okay.
Other than making interesting memes with it, doesn't help.
Yeah, I guess it creates good content.
Yeah. When does basketball start again?
November 5th is the first game.
All
And
right.
then you go to Toyota Center, I think on the 8th, but it may not be the 8th of November to play Auburn. And then a week and a half or 2 weeks later, you go to Vegas and play Alabama in what will be a top 5 matchup. And then play a really, really, really late game the night before Thanksgiving.
Isn't that like starting at 1 or midnight?
I don't know, but I'm too old for that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the only person in Vegas sleeping all day so that I can stay up to watch a basketball game. Not to go party, not to go gamble, but to watch a basketball game.
Yep.
And that's going to be midnight our time?
I think it's like 12:30 Houston time, or 11:30 or 12:30.
Yeah.
And it's the fourth game of the day, so it'll run late. It won't start on time.
Right.
So yeah, that's my life.
So I wanted to bring this up. Sorry, I don't want to pretend to get into these kids' heads. I kind of mentioned last week that it's too bad we're not seeing some more shots for the guys on the outside: Boogie Johnson, Manjack, Jonah Wilson. But on the play action play in the red zone to Boogie, Stephon Johnson, I feel like he could have laid out for that ball. It didn't feel like an uncatchable ball. I guess I'm presenting to you guys. Do you think that was a frustration thing? Maybe he didn't see the ball. I was just shocked because the ball looked like it landed at his feet. It didn't look like it landed, several feet away from him. I thought there was a very good chance he could make that play. I don't know if that's a built up frustration from not getting the ball often. I don't know what that was. It was just surprising because I watched Boogie for a couple of years. The guy plays all out all the time.
Right.
I think he
just
could
don't
have
think get to
made
it.
a play at it. He may not have gotten to it. Jonah Wilson on the interception, I felt gave up on that ball and could have made a play at least towards the defender. He didn't. He got knocked off and the defender made a play. And I mean, he really did make a play. He just turned around and caught a ball. But yeah, I don't think you got the best effort on every play from every guy. And those are two examples. And Stefan, that's such a weird route. He came from the left side of the field to the right corner of the end zone there. Yeah, and it's just you have to traverse so much ground, and you can get bumped off that pretty easily in a lot of different spots. And I thought it was a good throw. Donovan missed it where he could only miss it towards the sideline. He can't miss that field side.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he, that's fine. And I thought he could have made a little bit more of an effort. There's so many little things that if this one thing would have been different, it wouldn't have affected the outcome of the game, but could it have affected gameplay? If Manjack makes a clean catch on that 53-yard ball, it's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different game early on. And, if Stefan can make that play or if, any number of things, but, it didn't happen. They got their asses beat.
Yeah.
I mean, after 4 games now, what do you guys see looking at the offense? What do you think they do well that they can put their hat on to continue to do?
Not really anything.
They turned it over pretty well.
Yeah.
Pretty good at that right now.
I mean, we show signs of a flash of a running game, but then you get a bunch of 0-yard games, and then you're losing yards too. I don't know. It's just not consistent, and can't keep it up at all. You got to have somebody who makes plays.
Willie said something Monday in his press conference to me that I found so revealing. He said 2nd and 8 is not a bad down. And he said it in the context of, we're losing yards on first down, or we're not getting any yards on first down. So we're at 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11. But if we could just get a couple yards on first down, 2nd and 8's not a bad play. It's like, wow, things really are bad. If you're thinking 2nd and 8 is not a bad down.
Right.
They want to get to 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4 is their number. If you can get to 3rd and 4, they think they can have success, but you have to be creative in the play calling. I thought they were that against OU. I don't know that they were that today. They ended up 4 of 14 on 3rd down. Let's see. Go deep. 3rd and long, they were 0 and 6. 3rd and short, so 4 yards or less, they were 3 of 5. That's I think as good as they've done this year. They may have been 4 of 6 or 4 of 7 last week, but 3 of 5 you can absolutely live with.
Yep.
Yes.
But it's the 3rd and long. You have been, I bet they're at under 20% on 3rd and long this year, under 10% maybe.
Yeah.
It ain't good.
And the weird thing is in UNLV, the only two third downs they picked up were 3rd and long. And then it's just kind of been pretty bad ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, when they're in those situations, you just, when you're watching the game, it's like, okay, well, I don't know that they have something in their back pocket that they can go to where I confidently feel like this drive is going to continue. It's just third and double digits, 3rd and 7+. You're just like, okay, well, Doherty's warming up on the sideline. And today there wasn't even a semblance of a turnover for the defense. Maybe if they could have been, had a chance to make some plays, but they just, there wasn't even any last week against Rice, 2 of the touchdowns came literally the play after a turnover. Boogie's 44-yard touchdown was after a turnover. Donovan ran in for a yard after Pup got that pick at the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
So there were some quick turnaround opportunities, and that just didn't happen today. So I'm saying the offense stalling out, defense having some rough drives, but they couldn't even have a chance to force a turnover, which just made the game, even though it was quick, feel like a long drawn out process.
Long 3 hours. Let's just go with 3 hours.
I don't remember the quarterback putting a ball in even position to get picked off. They didn't put it on the ground at all in the running game. The closest they came was that punt return, and the guy just bobbled it in the air. It didn't even hit the ground.
Right.
I mean, you just weren't, you weren't close to a turnover. You weren't close to making anything happen that way. And, this was as bad a week as we've seen since Kansas State. But a question for the two of y'all. So we're going to go in Monday, talk with Willie. Tuesday, we'll get players. Who would you want to hear from right now? Like Donovan is not of an interest to me because he has pretty much mastered the not saying anything way of speaking. And Zion Chris is not the right answer either because they're not going to tell us if he's starting. And so
you don't want to start that.
Yeah.
On offense, I'd want to hear from Boogie Johnson, I think.
Okay.
He was here last year in a different offense, a different regime. Right. Obviously, he's still playing here. We've seen him make some plays. We've seen him not get as many targets as I'm sure he would like. Not that he's a malcontent or anything, but if he's a receiver, of course he wants the ball,
Absolutely.
Curious to see what he thinks. Maybe even Parker Jenkins with him not, getting used recently. What's going on there.
Brad?
I like those. I don't know who else I'd want to talk to.
What about the
Allen?
AJ Halsey might be the guy to go talk to this week. But yeah, I mean, we talked with Mike Patton after the game last week and talked to Jamal and Jack in the other show. And then Manjack and Stacy.
Maybe Hershey McLaurin. Maybe
I
Keith
like
Cooper.
Hershey. Yeah.
He came over from Tulane.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. So he knows what it's like to play for Willie Fritz when they're successful. So maybe getting the perspective there, just to get an idea of what's going through his head is, obviously he's got faith in the coaching staff. It's be interesting to see where his head's at. Maybe he can give a good pulse of what's going on with the defense or what they're thinking. Not what's going on, as if there's an issue there. Like, today was their first bad day. But just where, you're 1-3, obviously not where you want to be as a program. Just to get a feel of, what's going on in the locker room. Are guys starting to get down yet? Is it just
hope not?
Yeah.
You don't want to lose
this
them
week.
early.
You want to be 1-0 next week.
I think that's definitely the mentality that they're going to go in with. I just hope it. I don't want to see them get demoralized during the game because no matter what, you got to fight.
Yeah.
And you got to earn your spot. And if you're not playing well in the games, it's got to change it. I know they're rotating a lot of people on defense.
Yeah. Not so much on offense. You saw Dakota White come in at, I think it was right tackle. Yeah, right tackle for Jake Wiley. And that was not a great experiment. but I didn't see a lot of others. You saw Makai Muse late, Marquise Shoulders a little bit, but not a lot on offense. I think just the two tight ends. I didn't see Frederick in the game. I didn't see Cedric Melton anywhere. So I really didn't pay attention to a lot of the other games. I kind of kept up with James Madison in Carolina earlier today, but I just saw that James Madison got to 70 points at Carolina. That's unbelievable for James Madison to do at UNC. North Carolina ended up scoring 50.
Wow.
Yeah, but James Madison
That's
slowed
nuts.
down.
Yeah,
They
well,
only
I
scored
mean,
17
why
in the
wouldn't
second
you?
half.
That's it's
That's a
time to
nice
get those guys
basketball
out of there.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I and Tulane held off and won at ULL. Tulane is 2-2 now. I forget they played in the first week or week 0. Star Pizza, eat Star Pizza, please. They're good people and it's good food. I nearly got the cannelloni this week, but I got scared off at the last minute, Brad, and went back to the pizza. I really am. A lot of the guys at the table, there were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 specialists at the dinner table, and me.
Right.
They were all combined like 45 years of age. I'm 45 years of age. And I think 3 of them got a pasta. One of them got a sandwich. The rest got pizzas. So they're starting to they're trying new things, and they're trying the whole menu. We got dessert or appetizers and dessert. But starpizza.net. You can order online. They'll deliver it to you sometimes. If you're
Right.
close enough. They deliver it to Brad. But check them out. I think that's all we've got. I don't see a point in going that much further on this.
Struggling.
We have analyzed 0 points about as well as you can.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can say. And yeah, this is not going in our highlight reel, Brad. This is not going to be one of our good ones.
Yeah.
So next week, we should be back into our routine. Players after the game on the show. And Martin, Brad, maybe Derek Parrish. Derek was going to join us, and they scheduled a meeting in Toronto today. They played last night, lost by 2. And so he had to go into a meeting. But I don't think he would have added much to our salute to 0 than the 3 of us. Brad, final thoughts for you.
Just like we say after every blowout, you got to put it behind you. You got to come out and play, figure it out. And I need a nap.
You sound like you need a nap or an Adderall.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a ribeye. I'm going to take care of all of it because I'm going to get my long nap after that ribeye. Martin, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't forget this. Maybe you remind the guys that they got their ass kicked all week. And you don't want that feeling again. Because right now, I would say we're 2 ass kickings and 2 pretty good games so far this year. You want to be put it on them. Obviously today, good game against OU. Obviously you win, you feel good about that against Rice. But if in the past it's been put it behind you, maybe you try to flip that script on them and just remind them how bad today was. You don't want that feeling again. I think that's the old Coach K thing. The UNLV stomped them in the Final Four or something, and everybody was like, "Let's put this behind us." And he's like, "No, you're never going to forget this. Remember this every time you play. You don't want this to happen again." So maybe you go that route.
Yeah.
I have nothing analytical to add though. It was just a butt kicking today.
I would lean into that. I think that's a good idea. Is put it all over the facility, on the big screen on the indoor. I would paper the practice fields, the dining hall, everywhere these guys go. put a big 0
Mhm.
and remind them of it. Remind them how crappy that felt and how everybody in the program feels like shit because of how they played, except me. I didn't make the trip, and I feel great.
You should.
I
That
would
was
have
a
been
great decision.
stuck in Cincinnati for 2 nights, and it's just not my favorite town to be in. And I am so glad that I chose. I'm going to Fort Worth and Kansas City to Arrowhead to Arizona and to BYU. Those are all great. Norman was a blast, but glad I didn't make this trip. Probably never making this trip again. But yeah, that just, what do you say? That was, you went 22 years without, or 23 years without being shut out, and now it's happened twice in 10 games. Not great. Yeah, it
We got a
was, well, it was
we got a garbage TD against UNLV.
right. But I'm saying you got shut out with Kansas State last year,
Oh
and
yeah,
then today. You had gone from Texas in the year 2000 when it was 48-0 with that bullshit Chris Sims touchdown. But it's just, this is terrible, and
Right.
it's going to be. It's not fun to go and ask these guys questions a week after, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna,
Yeah.
what the fuck happened? What was going on? What were you thinking?
Mhm.
But every comment is not created equal, and this one, every game is 1 week closer to basketball,
That is
which,
very true.
yeah. So basketball coaches did their retreat this weekend, which means the season is right around the corner. Next weekend, you're going to have Kingston Flemings in on an official visit for basketball. He's another 5-star guy that this program wants, and he is leaning towards U of H. I don't think it's a done deal, but I think he's leaning that way. And if you could get him and Isaiah Harwell both in the same
Mhm.
class,
Yep.
Brad, I know you're not feeling well, but that's 10 stars total. And when you
True.
average them out, that's 5 stars apiece. All
And
right.
desperately needed. We got
Desperately needed.
a lot of holes to fill next season.
Well, I mean, holes is a relative term when you're a 1 seed perennially now.
Well, what
But
I'm
yeah,
saying is a lot of starters are going to be gone.
yeah.
I guess, what is it, 4?
Well, that happens pretty much every year, it feels like. But you're going to lose LJ, you're going to lose Jawan, Manuel, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't Malik Wilson.
Yeah.
Probably lose him, but I'm blanking. Milos, I think you might lose. So, oh well, figure that out when
Yep.
it comes.
It's part of
But
it.
GoCoogs.com, ton of content coming this week. Brad is going to analyze every part of this game. He's going to go deep. We're going to talk to players. We're going to do talking about them Cougars tomorrow night if Brad is still alive.
Yes.
We'll see. All right. Thank you all so much. GoCoogs.com. Martin, we appreciate you. Great work this week. Brad, stay alive. Y'all come back for more. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. You still have, it's 3:15. You get to go have a day.
Absolutely. I like
Hey,
the
go
early
get
game.
pizza.
Yeah. Go get you a nap, Brad. Thank you all so much.